I'm here today with an incredible lady from Ask Zein. Her name is actually Robbie Zein. And so she has been an educator for, I would say, 2 decades now, maybe.
A long time.
Yeah.
It gives away age. So.
She's just been wonderful and helped tremendous amounts of expat families and expat kids. Kind of moving abroad and being an international family has its challenges. I think just being a parent and having a family is already a challenge. Then you kind of add that extra layer of moving abroad and all that, just adds an extra complication.
Does it ever?
Yeah. And Robbie is here today to talk to us a little bit about, actually a lot about what to do and how to go about it and kind of the challenges and what you can do to help your kid and your family live happy, successful lives abroad. So,
thank you, Karim.
Thank you,
A
Robbie.
pleasure to be with you.
Pleasure's all
Absolutely.
mine.
Yes, thank you.
So, I have a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything before? Anything you want to?
No, I'm excited because I like talking to you. Last interview was so fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Oh gosh, I'm excited. Like I woke up this morning and thought, oh, we have to meet. We have this interview. I'm excited. It's just excitement.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like I'm going on a play date, like a child.
With the kids.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So no questions.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you.
Yeah.
I must say the last interview we had was very powerful. I needed some time to readjust because it was so deep and it actually made me think of what I could do better in my life, and how I can grow. And it made me think back to my childhood and maybe teachers that I had that weren't always good. So that's really good. So thank you for that, I must say. I guess my first question is, knowing that you have all this knowledge and history with children and childcare, what sort of inspired you to create the Ask Zein, and how does it cater to the specific needs of expat families? And maybe you could tell us a bit about what Ask Zein is.
Right. So Ask Zein is basically it's information for everyone who is working with children or working on their inner child, working on their future, working on finding joy in life and being the best version of themselves. So it's a collective database of information. You can find it on social media. You can ask me. People can just drop a question. I'm very happy to reply. We offer lectures, workshops. I say we, but that's, me and then this awesome team that films everything.
Awesome.
But and the inspiration really comes from, I just happened to be lucky that I lived that lifestyle. So I was telling you earlier when we were by the table, I grew up that way. I grew up among cultures. I've lived everywhere, Europe, the Middle East, North America, and we moved a lot. My dad was a civil engineer, and even when I finished my studies, I moved a lot. So it was just, you get used to a way of life. You don't see the borders. You're a person who belongs to all the nationalities. You're an earthling. So I'm not Canadian. I'm not this. I'm not that. I am just an earthling. And growing up that way, you get to really experience certain challenges and certain amazing qualities of life. So because I got to, we were learning geography, but I lived geography.
Oh yeah.
We were learning history. I lived history, right? We'd go in the summer to areas and you can see, things in Spain, old buildings, and you live it, you see it. You learn about the culture, but you live the culture.
Yeah.
So it's so rich. On the other hand, of course, everything positive comes with negatives. And everything negative comes with positives. There's the continuous cycle of grief, because you're constantly saying goodbye to something that you got used to and you loved, and you're moving on to something new again. So you're constantly in this transition. You recover, the goodbyes are over, you set up your new life, you meet your new friends, you get comfortable at your school, you're comfy in the house, all is well, and then it may start all over again.
And then you go.
Either you change schools or you change countries and then you go. Exactly. So learning how to deal with those things is really essential. Mind you, I remember so much watching my parents struggle because, every parent wants the best for their children. So I remember my dad, how much he'd want for us to be comfortable and happy. Meanwhile, as a child, all you want is to see your parents happy and comfortable, right? It's the vice versa. So I often advise parents, it's not about fixing it. It's about loving it. It's about the situation it's always going to go wrong somewhere, somehow. It's not about the challenge. It's about how to deal with the challenge with love. Because if I look back at all my life, my childhood, my travels, whatever, if there's anything I'd want to I always say I don't want to change anything because it made me who I am. But one thing I really do wish I had is to ever have seen my mom or dad happy, relaxed, and joyful, which is something I have no memory of a moment. That's how much they stressed about getting us comfy and getting us in a situation where we feel at home. Mind you, my mom also struggled trying to settle into the culture and find her friends and her calling or her new job. So these are things, I mean, I find it so beautiful to be in a position where my studies, my past, and my personality all come together. I love helping people. It's really my thing. And then I lived the challenges that I studied. And so they all intertwine. And yeah, that gave way to giving birth to the first company, Zein Childcare. And that was more putting the vision in practice. So children, parents, a home away from home, activities and programs to help children settle, lower anxiety, help everybody flourish, parents, workshops, and so on. And then from there on, now Ask Zein. Ask Zein is online, so we have a bigger audience, and it's the same service, helping everyone.
Yeah. Sounds like you really it's interesting because you have a unique perspective. It's like, when you have a professor at school who's going to be a business teacher, but he or she has never actually started a business. Right. It's kind of hard, but you're that professor that started the business, flipped the company. So in a sense, I think the how you grew up and everything, although, very rich and had challenges, it gave you a unique perspective.
It really did. It really did.
Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, even dealing with my friends, right? Because you go to international schools and then your friends are different cultures and different countries and different backgrounds. And you know that the way you talk to one wouldn't work with the other one, and the way you joke with someone may not be funny with the other one, So you really learn to navigate those worlds, and it's just so beautiful. It really is a skill that is priceless. I'm not bothered by anything, because everyone has the right to be who they are, from where they are. Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Everyone has the right to act the way they want, so long as, of course, it is within the boundaries of respect. It's just, life is beautiful. There's no judgment. There's no prejudice. There's no right and wrong. It's really nice. Yeah.
Gives a unique perspective on intercultural friendships and all that, and relations with people and all that. It's unique. It can be, and I guess if I look at a lot of multinational companies today, a lot of things they look at is really people that can work in these because we have a serious labor shortage in the Western world. And so having kids that can kind of adapt with different cultures, I think is going to be important for many Western economies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So. With this world of globalization, these are essential skills that children have to learn. So it's a real bonus for these families. And then, of course, you have to have tips for parents and ideas for teachers and even for any adult who's traveling between countries and getting jobs abroad, how to deal with the culture, what to do. You can make the best out of it, right? So you can struggle, or you can find solutions and ways to make the best out of it.
With lemons, make lemonade.
Not
sour.
Yeah.
So my next question then is, because you probably get a lot of questions, and how do you ensure? And I don't really know if you want to ensure this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Yes.
How do you ensure that Ask Zein, that the questions asked are culturally sensitive and relevant to diverse family backgrounds? How do you Or do you even want that? Maybe you want all the questions, you know?
All questions are really welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely, all questions are welcome. So, and if I can help in any way, I will. It's again, like I said, there's no right or wrong. There's just indifference. That's it. That's it. Different, different, different. And different is good, because if we're all the same, life would be really boring.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
yeah.
And so one of the things that I feel like questions are really questions. Something about asking questions to the human mind seems to unlock a lot within people.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And I guess so. Can you explain that a little bit further? Can you explain how the concept of asking the right questions can lead to healing or emotional breakthroughs for families and kids?
What a beautiful question. Look, goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them.
You got to zoom in from the
But
camera.
I'm that happy about this question.
Yeah.
No, this is such a great question, Karim. Thank you so much. The thing about asking the right questions, it's not really about the question. It's about being heard. It's about being heard. So the human body, you know, and this, I'm talking now science and factual stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The heart and the brain, both, the heart is electric, right? It beats. It creates a magnetic field, right? It has a wave of its own. The mind has one of its own as well. And then research has shown that when your heart and your mind are both going in the same wave, you're zen, happy, calm. When your heart is doing its own thing, but the brain is, you know, worried and thoughts and whatever, it creates turmoil. And vice versa, right? If the heart is really beating and you're really stressed or you're really worried or so on. And what happens when that's happening to you and you start talking to me? You start telling me something, asking me things and telling me things, and I start to listen. Listening, just listening. What happens when you feel heard and you feel supported? I don't have to even give you the answers. I'm just listening. I am totally focused on you and listening to everything you say. I'm taking it in. I hear you. I feel for you. I'm sorry for you. I understand. Tell me more. What happens in that moment is the waves completely go along that, and you'll actually synergize with me. And that's when healing begins. That's when healing begins. And so it's so beautiful because you're saying, you know, asking the right question. It doesn't matter if it's the right question or the wrong question. You ask something and I'm listening. I answer you and I try to, because it's a worry, right? When you're asking me something,
Yeah,
it's a worry.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying, you know, I moved from blah, blah, this country to that country, and my son now, he's really anxious, he's not sleeping, he's this, that. It's a worry. So whatever the details are, you're saying, I love my child, I'm worried. Is he okay? And if I just listen to you, tell me all that information. I am luckily in a position where I can help you and give you tips, but it's not just about the tips. Because if you talk to someone who just goes, oh yeah, you find the answer on page 25. Do you know what I mean?
Go look it up in the book.
Yes, and what's happening now with society is there is a worry, and then they'll go and Google it and find it somewhere and read it. Or it isn't that you're talking and I'm listening.
We've lost that a little bit.
We've lost that a little bit. It's the listening. And often when you meet people and you want to say something, they're waiting for you to finish your story so they can ask the next thing or say what they want to say. They're not really listening. They're just waiting for you so they're ready to throw their... So it's all about listening. It's all about listening. When we feel heard, healing starts.
And that's because...
And begins.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's...
And that's because the brain and the heart are more in sync when you're heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but is it really the listening, or is it the fact that, so it's that you're being heard, but that somebody cares? Is it that, or is it more the fact that...
It is feeling that you are heard. Your voice matters. Your worries matter. Someone is actually hearing your sorrow and pain. This is why you have, situations where even as adults, right? Our parents, whenever something is going wrong, they want to talk to us about what's happening and da 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 da. They want to talk. It's not that you have to give them the solution. They just want to talk to you, to say, my sister, your auntie, she did this, or your dad and I, it's like this, like that lately, and we're struggling and whatever. It's not that you as my child need to fix my my problem. It's very often we don't want to be understood. We just want to be loved. That's like 99% of the time. Humanity does not want to, we don't want to be understood. We just want to be loved. And in that dialogue that you have with one person to the other, you feel heard. And when the feeling of, hey, my voice matters, someone is actually giving me his valuable time or her valuable time so I can say what I feel and what's going on with me. And, they can throw in insights, but not tell me what to do, because that's also something that we often...
Yeah, I default to that.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, you're talking about a problem, here's a solution.
Yes, yeah.
But then someone will get, not mad, but like, oh, they don't feel heard, but I'm solving your problem.
That's
I
right.
don't think people want that.
That's right. That is not what, that's exactly that. That's exactly, because it isn't that I want a solution right now. I just want to tell you how I feel, and I want to feel heard. And that's it. And that's when my healing begins. You don't have to do anything other than actually really care about what I'm saying and be with me and look at me and carry on this dialogue. And the best thing is lines that start with I, things like, I'm sorry for your pain, I hear you, I can't imagine how hard this must be for you, or I can see that you're in turmoil. So that sort of thing. Not you need this and you need that and you need, because often that person in that state anyway, it's because they're needing to vent and talk to you, they're already in a state of turmoil. So that the you need to do this and that isn't really going to help at this moment. That can come later.
Yeah.
But that's when the healing starts. So, and that's the beauty of it. Of course, I've been through a lot of turmoil as a child. A lot. Of course, my parents struggled, my siblings struggled, I struggled, and so on. I just happened to be in such a beautiful position where I can talk to people and working on themselves, or teachers or parents or whatnot. And being able to listen to people and watching them heal, and then being able to speak, like right now, I'm speaking.
Yes.
And I am heard. Yes. You hear me, you hear me, you hear me. I am heard. There is no better feeling than being able to speak and for people to hear you, understand what you're saying, and then recover and feel better simply because of that. It's very powerful. So it's a very easy thing. Just listen to people. Just listen. The question doesn't matter. The answer does matter, but it isn't the core. We're not looking for immediate solutions. It's the hearing of what's going on. So as a parent, if you come to me and you say, my son, this, that, grade 1, grade 2, this happened, his teacher, blah, 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 I'm worried, da, 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 da. All I hear is, I'm worried about my most valuable thing in life, my little one. Is he going to be okay? So then I'm coming back at you with, I'm so sorry for your worries. I'm so sorry for your turmoil. I cannot imagine how hard it is for you as a parent to travel and move from country to country, do a second career, move your wife, move your kids. I can understand it must be really difficult. And it's this understanding of your turmoil that will start your healing. When your healing starts, then I can say, guess what? We can do step 1, 2, 3 with your child, and step so with you. But not this immediate jump to the solution. Because then again, you're neglecting the emotions. And last time when we met, I was talking to you about this, and I said, when we don't address emotions and we neglect them, we suppress them. And when you suppress, you depress. So suppressing feelings for a day, a week, a month, a year, eventually becomes depression. That's
just how it goes.
That's how it goes. We're humans. We're meant to feel emotions.
And it's so funny you say it, because everyone has that friend or that person in their life that they know
Yeah.
that doesn't know how to listen.
Handle and listen.
Yeah,
And yes,
and it's just like,
yeah,
they just immediately go to you with solutions. And I'm like,
yeah.
I just had a conversation yesterday with someone like that when you tell me, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it comes from a place of love, right?
course,
Because
of
they
course.
think if they give you solutions, they'll fix it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
and
fixed.
they don't want you to feel bad, so they want to solve you feeling
stop
bad
it
right
right now.
away.
Stop it right
I
now.
have to cover up your feeling bad.
Let's make this happen.
Yeah, yeah,
Solve it in a second. Yeah.
It's a no-go.
Yeah,
I
it's
see.
a no-go.
That's very powerful. And I know that I've been guilty of that as well. If I reflect on my own communication, I've had friends in the past tell me, oh, you don't understand, you don't listen, or even family members have told me this who I love, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
It's something I think everyone can work on, to be honest.
And
not,
that's
not
it.
even just kids, you know, but yeah.
Absolutely. But you said something. What did you say before I got up? And I really want to say
I'm guilty of this. Everyone, yeah.
Yes, but that is, when you say you're guilty of that, that is to say how awesome of a person you are. Because it means you're so caring and so sensitive to others' needs, which is why you immediately want to stop their pain by coming with,
Yes.
I can fix it like this.
Yes, yes.
And then they're like, but you're not listening to me, you know? Because we just want to be heard. We just
Yeah.
want you to, humans just want to be listened to. They don't want to be fixed. At that moment, at that moment of, so that moment needs to be, I'm here to listen for you. Unconditional love, I listen for you. You speak. You really don't have to say anything. It's that easy. You can just, or I'm sorry for your pain, like I said earlier, but just eye contact and listening. And then once they are totally done, then later on another day, you can ask, by the way, how's it going? Do you want to have a coffee? Shall we talk about I have some ideas that might help you. And that then will come, because now we're in a stage of readiness, or because we let it out, right? So the pressure cooker
Is gone.
is gone.
Is released, yes.
Because because see it as a pressure cooker, you want to put more things in, but like it's like already going. So, but if you were like that, it is because you're really caring.
So if I switch gears a little bit and I say, what are some of the biggest success stories of families that have used Ask Zein or Ask Zein support? Can you give us some anecdotes? We don't, if you have names, great.
I will, I mean, I won't mention names, but so...
This person at this address had this problem with their kid who did that, and then we had this, no, just if you could give some, you know.
I think one of the cutest examples that I often talk about in lectures, and she stuck with me, this little one that used to do everything naughty according to, you know, our rules of, because her mom would say it's dinner time or lunchtime or whatever time it was, mealtime. The first thing she'd do is get to the table and start throwing cherry tomatoes on the floor, and, you know, just...
I love this kid already. That sounds like me, but I do that at 43. I don't think it's better.
You haven't changed.
I haven't changed.
That's why I like the interviews with you. Oh,
it's
my
like
goodness.
interviewing a child. Thanks.
It is. Thank you. No, but it's very cute. She did all those things that, well, for us it's cute, but I can imagine for the parents at home. So she did all these things. She was, I think, if I can remember correctly, somewhere between 5 and 6 years old.
Okay.
So throwing things around, everything that she shouldn't do, she will do, and on and on. And yeah, that one was a fabulous example, because the mom came to me asking, like, how can she, like, what to do? She tried everything, you know, the yelling and the punishing and this and that. When you yell and punish or use any of these methods to deal with negative behavior, you're modeling negative behavior, because yelling is negative and punishing is negative. So you have a negative behavior and you're going at it negatively. So negative and negative is two negatives, and on and on and on it goes. They just feed off each other. The louder the mom gets, the more the child reacts and behaves. So what she had to do to fix it, which was really very simple and easy, is whenever the child was doing something that isn't naughty, like sitting and reading a book or playing or doing homework or something nice and quiet, the mom then had to catch her in that situation and really wow, get so excited. Look at you reading the book that we got from the library. Well done, you. That's so beautiful. This
But how
is
does
so
that have to
great.
do with the tomatoes?
You know what it has to do? So that's the good question. This is exactly what it has to do. Now, the child suddenly was receiving all this amazing attention and contact for doing things like reading a book or being quiet or playing a nice game or doing homework.
Okay.
And when that attention went up and the child felt saturated, the need to throw tomatoes to get her attention that way subsided. You see, because in the end, one of the basic needs of children is attention. They need attention, right? They need to be looked at, held, admired, cuddled. You know, their babies die from lack of what's the name of that? So many orphans that are left because of the orphanage and the lack of staffing.
Capacity, yeah.
Even if they are fed and taken care of, if they are not cradled and held enough, they failure to thrive. That's the name of it. Failure to thrive. Babies will die if they don't get that contact, right? We need contact. We thrive with contact. We want attention. And even when we grow up, if you look at society today, you know, these people who create viruses and spam, whatever, they're crying for attention. Everybody wants attention. Everybody wants, I want my boss to tell me, well done, you did great. I want my mom to say, oh my goodness, you're the best child that I've ever had. You know, you make me proud. We want people's attention one way or the other. And when we don't get it positively, we start doing bad stuff so we can get it negatively. And for children, as adults, we think twice because there's consequence to being bad. But for children, they don't know that yet. So the minute positive attention feels too low for them, and the minute they realize if they break something or throw something, they're going to get that amazing attention from you. I got it. That's how I get your attention. That works way better than reading a book quietly. When I read a book quietly, you don't say anything. When I throw tomatoes around, you start screaming. And you give me your full attention. So this is how you play with it. And that was solved immediately. She was the cutest little child immediately. And that, I mean, sometimes it takes a few days or a few weeks, but this was an immediate situation because she was crying for attention. So, yeah.
But it's interesting because, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, the attention. I think it's important. And you mentioned things about book and all that. One of the concerns I had, just as a normal citizen, is that, you know, is it not, you know, you don't want to reward things that are trivial.
Right.
My concern is, and hey, I'm no psychological expert, my concern is if you start rewarding things that are simple, I mean, how's this kid going to grow up and work hard in the real world and deliver for a boss and start a business and all that? My concern is if you give them too much and put them on a pedestal for things that are, I mean, when I read a book, no one comes to congratulate me for reading a book.
I would.
Hey, Karim.
Well done, you. You're taking a break from your busy day and reading a book. I like that.
But I mean, I'm 43 years old. How many people are going to come to me and congratulate me for reading a book or doing the dishes?
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
But that does not apply to a 40. You have to be applying it in age-appropriate range, right?
Okay, so there's different types of attention.
Of course, but I am sure as an adult you would really love it, and it would really suit you to hear your girlfriend come up and say, by the way, you know, this week your help was tremendous. I really appreciate that you've been coming, you come home late from work and the first thing you do is ask about me and you take the garbage out. You don't have to do that. Thank you.
Easy on the garbage, I don't.
Right, but do you know what I mean? So that's different. But for a child, they're not going to be that young anyway. In that case, she's not going to be vacuuming or what. She's a child.
Yeah.
So this is her way of doing. And the other point to address in what you said is you raise the standards. So it starts somewhere and then you go up, 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 up. Of course, you don't stay on the same thing because now she's gonna read more books and she'll be more occupied with that sort of thing than doing the noisy breaking things or screaming and whatever. That's great, but now we start giving attention to other things we'd like to see her doing. And saying things like, by the way, if mama sees you put your shoes away and your jacket and hang them up nicely over there, I'm going to be so happy about it. Maybe we can go for a walk after, something along, like, so start to direct the child. But you have to start somewhere. In that case, that was severe. The child only knew how to get attention with negative behavior.
Yeah, and that's a
So we
recipe.
first have to just pivot. We just have to switch this situation to positive, and then you start building.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Yeah. But then again, I know you want to move to the next question,
No,
but I
not at
have
all.
to say there is no such thing as a spoiled. There
That-
is. I mean, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no such thing. I have never in my whole life of working, I've worked with hundreds of thousands of kids and parents and adults. I have never met an adult who said, oh my gosh, my life is horrible. My mom and dad loved me so much. They just, like, I was adored as a child. I was comfortable. My teachers and my parents, my life was perfection. It's ruined me. I mean,
You don't hear it.
you don't hear that. And this is saturation. This is love saturation. This is the core of the plant. The life that you're talking about later, how your boss is going to view you and how the task will go and whatever, is the wind and the storm that will shake this plant. It isn't that core. The core is what I'm talking about. Because if that core is so strong, you can go through any storm. If that core is so weak, it's going to break in a day or two. So when parents tell me, yeah, he needs to learn about the tough life and jobs and blah, blah, blah. If you're going to introduce that to a child, first and foremost, that is not his developmental stage yet. That's why he's a child and you're the adult. That's why he's in your care. If we're going to do that to a child, so he's not getting the nutrition and the strength to grow and become so strong, first thing
You're
is
building it
they're
wrong.
down.
They're building it wrong.
They're building it wrong. It's the foundation. That's why they're called foundation years. It's the foundation of humanity.
And what years are these for the child?
So foundation years go up to 5 or 6 years old. So this is extremely significant. And for me, I really don't like to put a line on 5 or 6. I'll say all the way up to 12, 13. Just keep going. These years, children have to be saturated with love, attention, care. There is no such thing as they're being spoiled. That is, that the toughen up and whatnot, and putting them in this state of anxiousness because you're a boy and you need to toughen up, or you're a girl and you need to stop nagging and get up, and pushing them and putting them under stress during those years is role modeling that this is what life will be. So when they grow up, they will live life accordingly. And if their life is under stress and they're unhappy, that's normal because that's how they grew up. So it's how I grew up and how I'm living now. It aligns. So
I feel like people should have a license if they're going to become parents.
I wish. I wish we.
I feel like there has to be some kind of.
Yeah.
I know they have the Kramzorg thing here where they go, but I don't know if there's none of this psychological.
We pay more attention definitely to physical well-being and education than we ever do to social, emotional, and mental health.
Okay.
Definitely, and I really hope to see that evolve in society. And that's back to what you asked earlier. That's the mission of Ask Zein. Social, emotional skills, positive behavior guidance, empowering people. It's that I feel is still somewhat missing, or there's not enough of it in society today.
You just answered my next question, which was...
Oh, is it?
was how does Ask Zein help families prepare for the emotional challenges of a long-term expatriation? You just said it, so that's great.
Yeah.
What's interesting, so we talk a lot about the kids, right? I'm curious to know what's the impact the platform has on parents' mental health, and then obviously after that, the family cohesion. How does that...
It all ties to each other. Another good question. Thank you, Karim. It all ties into each other. If as a parent, if as an adult, right, who's caring for children, I won't say parent because it's the same if I'm a teacher. If as an adult, I am not complete and I'm not thriving, then the people around me, big or little, can't thrive. So
it's a toxicity that you destroy everything around.
It is.
Poison, yeah.
Nobody wants to be around someone who is going to make you feel bad or treat you bad or not know what to do or is anxious or is depressed, we naturally gravitate towards positive people who feel good about themselves, who want to help you, who appreciate you, who are, a shining light. We gravitate towards that. And that's essential for children in your care. But it's also essential for you, because if you're not feeling well and thriving, they can't thrive because you're in the care position. So it's really important for parents and teachers to look at themselves, their past, and work on that in order to care for this future generation without this bit that maybe, as I explained that actually in the last interview, I just remembered we talked a little bit about that, that if I grow up as a child and I come from a family that is always screaming and fighting,
You're going to be screaming and fighting.
Yes. And or it can go both ways. I can be screaming and fighting, or I can become completely the opposite, which often does happen. If I see people fighting, I cringe. Yeah, okay, so then you have to ask yourself, is this right? Is it really right? Is it okay that does he not have the right to just vent? Are emotions really that bad? Do I have to immediately retreat and walk away because now he wants to talk or he wants to say something? Is it really him or is it me? What is it? Yeah. Or is it both? But if you notice as an adult that it's something you seem to pull away from anyone who starts yelling or screaming, then it's you. If you take this scenario and put it in a parent or in an educator scenario, say I'm a teacher, right? And I grew up that way. And then there's these children in my class, and this one child is explosive because he's in transition and he's missing home and he's missing grandma and his dog and his cat, and his mom and dad are nervous and and he feels it and whatever. So he's explosive. He's dealing with it. There are many ways that children deal with stress. So here I am. If I was whole, perfect, and complete, I notice his behavior, and now I want to kind of figure out where it's coming from so I can help him. If I was the person who grew up in the screaming and yelling and whatnot, I'm going to try to stop him because I can't cope with that.
But that's you.
That's me. That's not him. So if this child then at home can't vent and at school can't vent, and I as his teacher Monday to Friday keep suppressing the screaming, lower your voice, don't talk like that, no, and that's suppression, that's a whole school year. And suppression is depression. So it does build up. So this is why I talk as educators and caregivers, it's so important to work on yourself, look in the past, see if what you're doing has something to do with your past. If it does, let's tweak it and fix it so we don't deliver it to the future generation.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karim.